Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Buzz channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today, looking ahead to our Sunday game. Got a little time, might as well. And we are going against the Packers. It is Packer week. We got the afternoon game. It should be fun to reignite this rivalry. It doesn't quite matter where we are in life as far as both teams. Whenever we get together, it's a thing. So we will be in Chicago defending the home turf for this one, so that'll be fun. And so what chance do we have to beat the Packers? How realistic is it? I know some people who think I'm a hater, funny. You might be shocked. I do think we have a decent amount of probability to beat them. So if I had to give it a percentage, I would probably say we have a nice 35% chance to beat them. And I say that because the Packers obviously aren't as complete this year so far as they might have been in the past or that they want to be. Now, there's kind of a double-edged sword going on. The Packers have a weakness, let's say. I wouldn't say it's like a super weakness or anything, but it's a weakness. The issue is their weakness is going up against our weakness. So the defense, which you can say almost every year when Aaron Rodgers is healthy, is playing lower at a lower level than the offense. However, this year without Zadarius Smith recently, we just seen some teams stay in games that I don't think usually they would have stayed in the game against the Green Bay Packers. So that's why I say that. The issue is they'll be going up against our offense, which, of course, not only has struggled to be consistent, but we've always struggled to be explosive. And so that is going to be a real issue because you are playing against the defense. You're not necessarily playing against Aaron Rodgers, but that becomes a factor because we know they can put up points. And it's not that they're blowing people out this year, but again, when you talk about explosion, we know that they can score fast. And so that becomes part of the equation. And so our only hope would be to essentially get into a shootout. Now, I'm not, again, trying to say that our defense is so low level or anything, but let's be honest here, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's very familiar with us, but also he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And even though their offense, again, hasn't been blowing people out or anything this year, you still have to, be on the lookout for what they could do pretty easily, especially if they get on a roll when we're not getting first downs and we're giving them the ball back. So, and their offense is balanced. We know what Aaron Rodgers can do, but Aaron can pick up yards with his legs. We know Aaron Jones is a really good receiving back, but also can run it as well. A.J. Dillon, they can be balanced when they want, especially, and this one thing that I want to start talking about more is it's not just run pass anymore in the NFL. You have to think of it in terms of run, pass, play action, and screens. And the Packers are pretty good at all of those. And so they can be pretty balanced as well as explosive with down the field play. So point being, again, as good as our defense can be, and I do think we have a shot with their offensive line not being fully healthy. Again, I've said before, Khalil Mack has the talent. If he wants to do it, there's not many people that could block him. Too many times he wants to play bully ball and try to run over people instead of dipping his shoulder and leaning around the edge where he's unstoppable. If he chooses to do that, he can go. Robert Quinn, again, just seems a lot more healthy this year. Obviously, he can go. When you have an offensive line that hasn't had a lot of continuity, even though they're playing decently, when you start doing a lot of the switches in the games, they can get confused. And so there's definitely a real opportunity. For whatever reason, we've been real good with it. And so the TE stunts and everything, which again, you got peewee teams that run that, but still, it's hard for these offensive linemen to block sometimes when they don't communicate. So there's a real chance that we could get some hits or some pressure on Aaron Rodgers and maybe steal a possession. But again, it's going to be on the offense. If the offense is not picking up first downs, if the offense gives us no chance, to keep the drive going, it's not going to matter too much if we steal a possession. And so I'm not really exactly saying that I expect us to, turn into Arizona or Buffalo and just let Fields rip it. And I don't think that's necessarily the best way to beat the Packers. But if we are talking about a shootout scenario and we're talking about a stage for not just Justin Fields, but the team to really show something, this would be the one. Now, the Packers defense isn't as bad as some people would make it out to be, but they definitely can be had, especially without Zadarius. And so if you look at the numbers, they're actually pretty close to the Bears. Sometimes right next to the Bears defense in most categories, except in sacks. Now, I don't go strictly by numbers. Even looking at our sack numbers, you know how I feel about that because I don't think we're a great pass rushing team. But once again, if you just look at these numbers and if you watch the Packers play, the pass rush is not the same without Zadarius. It's just not. And so, in my personal opinion, it's these type of games that is frustrating. All we run is zone. That's fine if we're heavy zone as a run team, but that's all we run. This is the perfect scenario where like a Detroit, I wouldn't say Detroit. They did this a little bit, but more so these other power teams. This would be the perfect scenario where you're able to bring in a couple extra tight ends, run some power, run some ISO, run some stuff up the gut, especially when you got a team that likes to go or that isn't getting a lot of sacks and might try to go hard off the edge. Run some stuff up the middle, suck them in, go shotgun, 4 wide, run a draw play as, catch them napping as they're trying to get a shot off the edge. Like stuff like that to suck them in and then hit them with a big play action from under center. Those type of things we don't really have the ability to do. Honestly, if I'm playing the Bears and they're under center, I would never, ever be fooled by that play action because they only do 2 things from under center besides the ISO like every 3 games. The only thing they do is play action shot or they do a bootleg. That's the only thing they ever do. And so because they know we run zone, if the offensive line is not moving, then pretty much every team knows it's a pass. And so that is frustrating that we can't do that. However, even still with our zone scheme and what we do, I still think there's a chance for us to be effective. And really what we need to do, what I would like to see us do, is we have to utilize and win 2-man routes. We saw it against Detroit a couple times, but that's really where we would be safe at. And I want us to run the ball. We saw that Las Vegas couldn't stop us, so we just kept doing it. And I like that mentality as well. And then once we go play action, instead of the shotgun fake zone read stuff, that I don't care about that. What I care about is bring in 1 tight end or maybe 2 tight ends or maybe a tight end, a fullback, go pro, whatever. Play action and run a 2-man route, 1 man deep, skinny post, 1 man over the field on a crossing route, or double move and then another cross, whatever. Bring someone across the field, bring someone down the field, and see if the defense messes up. If the linebackers suck up, you go to the person across the field. If the safety sucks up, you go to the person deep down the field. And you got to be able to and comfortable to let just 2 of your receivers go out there and beat the coverage. Now, obviously, if we get out there and we're just getting negative plays on the run, I'm not saying give up on it, but that does change the play action game a little bit. But still, even if you aren't running well, you bring in 2 tight ends and you get under center and you go and you show that ball like you handing it off, the defense is going to step up. Point blank, period. That's what's going to happen. So that's one of the things. Obviously, a strong run game is always going to help. But overall, this is an opportunity to go against a team that won't necessarily be right in your face as soon as the ball snaps, as Justin Fields. This is a team where, while you got Jair Alexander, just the secondary has just not really been on one accord. And this is a team, while they're middle of the road as far as giving up yards, they're pretty high up there as far as giving up passing touchdowns. So it is a possibility that we can go tit for tat, get a turnover, get a punt against Aaron Rodgers and really be in this game similar to how Cincinnati was. But again, I would say probably a 35% chance. So, and again, like, as much as I want to blow it up, I'm thinking about the future. Like, I've said many times, I don't think we're devoid of talent or anything. We got talented players. We got talent on the field and all that. And I've always said, since in this whole Matt Nagy era, we are a team that can compete with any team, but to beat good teams, we have to catch some lucky breaks. That's what I've always said. And so I do believe we do have a 35% chance. But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Despite how this year is going, the dude is one of the best. And particularly when he gets a matchup against us, he gets a little revved. But they don't have David Bakhtiari. They don't have Elton Jenkins. So, I mean, we could make some things happen. So, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section. Wait, before I say that, actually, in the last point, Devontae Adams, that's another thing. As much as we like Jalen Johnson and all that, he doesn't travel. He's not a man-to-man corner. And so while people love all those things and the stats and all that cool stuff, that's fine, but do realize that they can move Devontae Adams, and they will. They'll move him both sides. They'll move him inside. They'll move him to the back as like a little nub and then release him from there. They'll do a lot of things with Devontae Adams. Now, should we play cover 2? Probably. Aaron Rodgers is still really good. He could easily eat that up. But should we have our corners up on Devontae? Probably. We might play 5 yards off. We'll see. But that's another issue. So, anyway, that's it for me. Go to the comment section and let me know what you think. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.